Hi guys, welcome back to Rocket City Yarn. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in forever, so I'm excited to see you guys. So, episode 9, the holidays were fun, but now it's back to work. So what's been going on? Well, as you guys know, because I talked about it on my last podcast, I did my first expo vending show at the Rocket City Marathon and had a great time doing that. I got to meet a lot of cool people. I wanted to give a shout out to Miss Marianne Ziegler because I got to meet her and it was really great meeting her. And I got to meet a lot of local people that I didn't know were involved in fiber crafts, so that was great because now I'll get a chance to hang out with people in real life here at home, so that's awesome. So, what have I been knitting? Well, before I show what I've been currently knitting, I'd like to show a flashback because this particular thing that I knitted is a table runner for Christmas that I knitted. It's double knitting that I did when I first started loom knitting, and it makes me smile. There are a few mistakes on it because I was a brand new loom knitter, but I put it away with the Christmas stuff because it's like the table runner that I made for our table in our entryway, and I pack it away with the Christmas stuff, and every year I get it back out, and it just makes me smile because it kind of makes me feel like I've really grown since the person that knitted this, but yet I really feel like it's going to last forever and kind of be like a fun thing to take out of the holidays. And what it was, I followed the charts on I think it was the knittingboard.com celebration scarf, and I just made it into, I used a little bit different size yarn and gauge and made it into a table runner. So I just wanted to show that. Okay. What have I been knitting? Well, since it hasn't been so crazy lately, I was able to finally break out my Amigurumi, I think you say it, books that I got this summer and I haven't really had a chance to use. I love this new space one from Sachiyo Ishii. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but I absolutely love your book. And so what did I first try out to knit? Well, I used some scrap yarn and I made her little rocket. And I just want to say that not only was this really fun, but she did such a good job with the execution of it, because when I knitted the little wings, I was like, they seem really floppy, and yeah, I fold them over and knit them, but they're not really going to be really stiff like they need to be. Well, then I continued to read in the pattern and found out that she had a template in the back for how to cut out a little piece of cardboard to sew up in the wing instead of stuffing to make it stiff like wings, so they move like wings. So I mean, that just makes it all the difference. So I absolutely love that. I will make many more things out of these books because this was really fun. And then the funny thing happened. So I was online in my local Facebook group and I found out that there's a knitting and crochet group called Rocket City Knots. I think it's spelled Knots, just knots. They go around making little stuffed animals and little things with knitting and crochet and hiding them everywhere in Huntsville where I live, kind of like people that paint rocks, and they, as to make a little surprise. And they sew a little QR code on it, and you can scan it with your phone and say, hey, I found it, and then you can re-hide it, and it goes all around Huntsville. So I'm like, this will be a perfect use if I go crazy with these books that I bought. It'll be a perfect use for that. So I'll pause a minute and say, what am I wearing? Well, I'm wearing a hat knitted with my poor Pluto colorway that I made for the knitting show. It sold out really quick. I only had like one left after the show, and then someone bought it online like the very next day. So I'll have to dye some more of this colorway, but that's what I'm wearing right now. So what cool news did I have to share with you? Oh, so I follow Marley Bird because I love all her events and all her fun knit-alongs, and I happened to join her she calls it stocking stuffer event, where she has these giveaways, and I saw Chiaogoo needles on there, and I was like, I love my Chiaogoo needles, so I'm gonna register for that giveaway. Well, I won. And so I got sent this really, really, really nice note from Marley and Caitlin as well. But I got sent this cute little project bag from Chiaogoo that says for every project, every time. And then I got the little new blue shorties. And I kind of wanted to show what they have in here because I honestly didn't really understand exactly how they work. I may not be an expert at it now, but I think people ought to kind of know what they're getting with these. So what you get with these, you get, your typical, stitch markers, little stoppers, and little keys to turn, and you get some really nice little blue cords. But the needle tips that you get size 4 through 8, but you get a longer one, I think it's like 3 inches, and then you get another set of the same size tips, needle size, but they're shorter, they're like 2 inches. And so what this does is it allows you to make 9-inch circulars, and also for some of your other things, this is basically a small sized cord. So if you wanted, maybe a really exact cord length, this gives you 2 different lengths on your tips for these sizes to make hats and small circumference things. So if you like to do sleeves or things and you don't want to fool with DPNs, this might be the thing that you're looking for. What else? So what else have I been knitting? Well, I wanted to do just a regular kind of loose fitting worsted weight sweater for myself. Kind of some selfish knitting. Hold on, let me have a sip of drink. Some kind of selfish knitting after the holidays to kind of in celebration of my first show and all the work that I did. Just something fun that I could do. So I found this awesome pattern by Joji Locatelli, which is kind of a loose fitting worsted boxy, and I thought perfect because I have some worsted weight base that I can dye. So I started it, and I couldn't decide if I wanted a purple sweater or a blue sweater. So then I said, well, why don't I kind of dye the yarn to be similar to a fade? So I first started with blue, like a kind of a speckly tonal blue. Then I dyed a blue speckles with the same colors. Then I dyed another color. Hold on, a little tangled here. This one's a little tangled. Okay. This one is a little tangled. This one is a lighter speckled that has blue and purple in it. Then my color scheme transitioned to the more purple, and so then I did a purple speckle, and then I did a kind of a little bit lighter purple, but that's actually still attached to my sweater. And so I kind of wanted to show, because I finished all of the part. I want to be careful not to get it untangled, to get it messed up here. But I finished all of the part where I'm knitting it in the round. The directions in the pattern have for in the round as well as the kind that you can seam, but I'm doing in the round, and I've done all of the in the round part for the 17 inches, I think it was. And then now I've just separated for my armholes, and I'm doing the front part now. So I did that, and I just love how the colors are kind of blending together, but I wasn't sure if I was going to have quite enough purple to finish out the top. So I went ahead and dyed one more purple, and this purple I added some black tones to it, kind of a dark. So I think that'll look really cool at the very top and the edges, so I'm really excited about that. So I wanted to show that. Okay, let me pack all my little, and the reason I saved these little balls because the pattern called for, it said 5 balls of the worsted weight, and so I dyed 5 balls, not counting the extra purple, and then that would have been enough. But then I was like, since I'm striping this and I have to do sleeves, I don't know exactly how much I need of each color to stripe the sleeves. So I decided to kind of save pretty much an equal amount of each of the colors, and then I'll divide those in half, and whatever I have, I'll just by weight divide it in half, and that'll be the color of the stripe. It won't be an exact science, but it should be pretty close enough. But just to be on the safe side, that's why I went ahead and did the other purple, just in case. But I am loving how that's turning out. Okay, so the other thing that I want to talk about was I got my new planner. I'm using this year using the Erin Lane Bags planner, her Sheeple Planner for 2020. And it's definitely designed for knitters and crocheters. But one of the reasons that I really like this particular planner, it's got cool knitting things in it, like knitting abbreviations, crochet abbreviations. It's got things in here about goals and a knitting needle and hook inventory and different things. But I also like the way it's tabbed by month. And the reason I decided to go with this one is it's kind of a cross between a journal and a planner, because it has both the journaling type stuff, which is like your goals and your actions and your thoughts. Then it has your normal, month planner, month at a glance thing. And then it has individual weeks with, before you get to the weeks, it has what they call this mindfulness section, where you can put your daily disciplines and affirmations and notes and scribbles. And this notes and scribbles page, what makes this interesting is I can kind of customize that, because one of the problems with the smaller planner that I had last year was I wanted to put my business stuff in it, and I wanted to put our family appointments and things, but I also wanted to be able to make quick notes about my homeschooling lesson plans, and there wasn't a way. I wanted them to be in the same planner without being all intermixed together. I wanted to keep homeschool separate and family separate, and kind of like 3 tracks. I wanted them in one place, but I wanted to have 3 tracks: family stuff, the business stuff, and homeschool stuff. And so what this allows me to do, I just started working on it because I just got it, but it has the month at a glance, which is what I'm going to use for my family appointments. Then it has large weekly days that I'm going to use for my business notes. And then the notes and scribbles at a glance, that's where I'm going to divide out into 4 or 5 days and put in my homeschool stuff. So it's going to be perfect for that. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, okay, so, and I also wanted to show these pens, because they're my favorite pens for homeschooling and planning and things, because they are truly erasable. They are the Frixon by Pilot Frixon Ball Clicker pens. They're gel ink. They come in a lot of colors, but they're completely erasable and refillable. So they are an excellent source. So I wanted to point that out. If you are considering getting some pens and you like to be able to erase and you want to be able to see what you wrote later, those are really excellent. Because when I was in my business world, when I was working on my professional career in my former tech life, I always had goals. I always had plans. I always had projects. I was a program manager. Everything had a cost, schedule, performance, had timelines, charts, you name it. I tracked it, that kind of thing. So I decided that I think my business would get more growth as a small business if I applied some of that stuff in a reasonable way to my business this year. Because last year I was just kind of starting it, kind of feeling my way. But this year I feel like I've been in business. It'll be a year in May. But I really started off kind of slow, getting everything together. So this year I really want to hit the ground running. So this week I'm actually making a list of 5 goals that I would like to do for the new year. And so I am releasing 1 a day. So Mondays, because this is Tuesday, so I've released 2. So Monday's goal was I want to do something neat. So I'm kind of a scatterbrain knitter. I always have a lot of work in progress, whips going. I kind of chase things and kind of, oh, I see that, I want to do that, and stop and start. And so sometimes that affects my ability to finish things, especially now that I homeschool as well as do my dyeing business. I don't have as much time to sit down and knit, so I want to make sure that I can actually produce things. So I've decided that I'm going to deliberately plan my knitting projects this year. So I'm going to say, okay, in the next month, I'm going to participate in this MCAL, or I'm going to participate in this, you know, follow this pattern, and I'm going to do that so that one, I can knit up special colors for, I can dye up special colors for that pattern or that knit along, and I have the right bases and sizes and things, but also so I can kind of deliberately say, okay, my goal last month was to finish this one. This one is not finished, so I'm not going to start this MCAL. I'm going to wait and do it the next, do another thing. So I'm going to try to keep it to where I only have one big project. No one believes me, but I'm going to try to keep it to just one big project at a time. So right now my big project is my sweater, and until I finish that, I'm going to try not to jump on any fun trains, but it'll be hard, but I'll do my best. That's the goal. My next goal, the one that I put for goal number 2, so today's goal, was when I was at the expo for my craft show, a lot of local people asked me if I gave lessons or did a knitting group. And I was like, I've just been busy, and especially with my work life before, I did everything virtually. So I'm basically a virtual knitter. All my friends that I know virtually, and I don't really know anybody in real life that I knit with. So I'm going to try, fingers crossed, to join or start or connect with a group that meets somewhere at a coffee shop or something, and I'm going to try to make some in-person knitting, crocheting, fiber friends. So that's a little bit tough for someone like me who's more of an introvert, likes to stay at home. My idea of an exciting night is staying home, binge watching a show, and knitting. So especially with the winter. So I'm going to try to do that. That's going to be a goal. That's going to be a stretch, but I'm going to try that. And I guess I've never really felt comfortable saying, would I give lessons to knit, for knitting, because I'm a self-taught knitter. I did things the hard way because I didn't know any knitting people in real life. I started with loom knitting, then moved to needle knitting, and then I dabble in crochet, but not much. And so I learned all from YouTube. So I've just never felt qualified to instruct anyone. Well, recently, one of my friends wanted to learn to knit. So I said, well, the only person that I've taught to knit is my son, my 8-year-old, because he was interested in it. But how hard could this be, right? So I sat down with her for like maximum 20 minutes. I gave her some needles, gave her a brief instruction on casting on and the slip knot, the cast on, long tail cast on, and just the straight knit stitch. And gave her some yarn and said, when I see you in a week or two, text me if you have any issues, or I'll see you, because we were scheduled to see each other again in 2 weeks. And if you have any questions, just bring them. Well, I didn't hear from her, so I was like, either she quit or she didn't do it or there was a problem. Well, when I saw her, she was like, I had so much fun. She brought me her knitting. She had done like probably like 12 inches. It was a scarf. I showed her how to cast on like 30 stitches. It was like a scarf. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I didn't think you'd be able to do, that much so quickly. And she's like, I'm loving this. And we looked it over, and there was a couple of drop stitches. So I used some of the small little safety pin looking clipped stitch markers to kind of close those up and hold those little stitches. And I told her to keep practicing. And next time I see her, I will teach her how to use a crochet hook and to kind of ladder up to put those back. And I got kind of excited about that because I felt like, teaching it worked out. I was able to explain it clearly. So I think what I'm going to do for fun because there really are so many videos out there, great videos that I learned from for teaching knitting. What I'm thinking about doing is a series, like a 5-minute video series, where I talk about everything that I did wrong because I didn't understand, because all I did was watch a YouTube video for like 5 minutes, say I could do it, and just went on trucking. So things like not realizing that if you're trying to knit flat, you can't all be one stitch, or you're gonna get curled edges, that sort of thing. With stockinette, you can't have all stockinette, you'll have, the little things. And I thought that would be more funny, maybe, and more interesting to new knitters. Like, maybe like, instead of doing this in-depth tutorial on Ravelry, maybe just showing some of the funny things that happen when you first start using Ravelry. And so I think that's what I'm gonna do. So that's probably gonna be goal number 3 on my tomorrow's goal that I'm gonna post on Instagram. Is I'm gonna talk about doing those short videos, not just my podcast, but those short videos with some of the funny, I'm gonna call them like funny tips for knitting. So maybe even crochet, loom knitting, and I'm gonna show some of the things that I did wrong and some of the funny things that may have happened. Because I think for some people, knitting seems really intimidating because it seems mysterious, and you're wondering, well, what happens if I make a mistake and all these things. And like I told my friend when I was showing it to her, I'm like, knitting is in concept very simple. It merely takes practice. But some of the fails can be funny if you don't have a few people around to kind of give you pointers. So I am excited to maybe do some funny videos. So that will probably be my 3rd goal. What else did I want to talk about? Let's see. I think that's everything other than I'm going to be knitting in the dye shop. I'm going to be knitting some new colorways. Purple or blue is the Pantone color of the year, and it just so happened that I have been dyeing a lot of blue, mostly because I like the color blue. So I do have a lot of blue things that are going to be in the shop, not intentionally because I didn't know that was going to be the color. But I'm also going to try to do some greens this year. I do have a colorway called Earth that is in the shop now that I think there's like maybe 1 left. I sold a lot at the show. I think there's maybe 2 left in worsted weight. And I'm going to dye some of that in sock weight, fingering weight as well, because I think it would look really, really cool in a shawl for like Earth Day or something. So that, and what was funny was, I had it hanging on my wall at the show, and underneath it I had some little minis of some of my fall colors. And there is some kind of browns tones in the Earth colorway, and someone was like, oh, if I buy this mini, and it was my white corn mini, that's kind of slightly brownish, and they held it up to the earth tone. They said that'll make a perfect accent to that, and it'll be like, that's the land, and then that's the earth and the seas. And I thought, well, that would just make an awesome shawl kit. So I might make a few Earth Day shawl kits when fingering weight, and I'll do one in the white corn, which is actually maybe, I maybe need a better name for that one, because it is a little bit more brown. It's not really white. It's more of a kind of a speckledy, light browny color, and that and do like a cool kit for that. So I might do that. That's one of the things I've been thinking about. But anyway, I guess all I want to say is it was great talking to you guys. I am going to try to do a more active blogging and podcasting and videoing schedule this year, kind of get my rhythm down. Last year, I was just trying to get my rhythm. This year, I'm trying to kind of really stick to a schedule, and because I really feel like it's kind of hard to remember to show things when I don't stick to a regular schedule. What's next? That's pretty much everything, except for, I guess I'll do a quick, what am I watching? Because this time of year is when I love to binge things, and 2 of the things, so I saw the new Doctor Who season, of course, because they're my favorite. Got my Doctor Who cup in acknowledgement. But also, I'm trying to think of 2 things that I binged lately that were kind of interesting. So I binged The Witcher, which was hilarious, by the way. It may not be kid friendly, but it is hilarious. So if you take it for what it is, it's hilarious. And then I also binged, let's see, what else? The Mandalorian, of course, which was awesome. I really liked it. And the other thing that I recently watched was, I'm trying to think, oh, it was called Virgin River. And it's like a edgier Hallmark type thing. It was a season 1. Very edgy. It was a Hallmark movie, don't get me wrong. But it was very edgy, darkier, and it's on Netflix. So it kind of reminded me of kind of a little bit darker Netflix. I mean, darker Hallmark show because it was on Netflix. But it was beautiful scenery. So I watched that mostly because I liked the some of the knitted things they were wearing. And what else? I'm trying to think of what else I've watched recently. I think, I started the, I think it was called the V Wars, the vampire show, but I couldn't really get into it. So I think I'm going to try the new Dracula show on Netflix as my next binge thing. So I guess that's everything. Oh, so I would like to remind people that if you like this podcast, please like and subscribe this video. And if you want to see what I do on a daily basis and my new colors and things, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'm at Rocket City Yarn on Instagram. So don't forget, it's okay to just stay home and knit. Bye, I'll talk to you guys later.